At a California high school graduation, one name was about to echo far beyond the auditorium walls, but not for the reasons anyone expected. This is the story of Jeremiah, a quiet, brilliant student who had earned the title of Valedictorian. As he walked towards the stage, a wave of whispers and snickers rippled through the crowd. Soulmate students, blinded by jealousy, couldn't accept that the reserved young man they barely knew had outshone them all. They mocked his quiet demeanor, his humble background, and questioned his achievement. For a moment, the weight of their judgment was suffocating. You could see the hurt flicker in his eyes, but he held his head high, clutching the speech he had poured his heart into. He stood at the podium, the microphone a silent witness to the tension in the room. The whispers didn't stop. They grew into a low, disrespectful hum. Jeremiah took a deep breath, ready to speak his truth, but the noise was a constant, jarring interruption. He deserved this moment. He had worked tirelessly, sacrificing social events for late-night study sessions, overcoming obstacles that many of his peers couldn't even imagine. His family watched from the audience, their pride mixed with a growing sense of anger and disappointment at the scene unfolding. How could a celebration of achievement be tainted by such open disdain? It was a heartbreaking betrayal of the very spirit of education. Just as Jeremiah was about to begin, a distinguished figure seated on the stage stood up. It was the governor of California, attending the ceremony as a special guest. He walked over to the principal, whispered something, and then approached the podium himself. The room fell silent. All eyes were on him. What was happening? The governor looked out at the sea of graduates, his expression unreadable. He then turned his gaze directly to Jeremiah, a look of profound respect on his face. He didn't address the crowd first. He addressed the one person who mattered most in that moment. The governor took the microphone. His voice, calm but firm, filled the auditorium. Before we continue, he began, I want to acknowledge someone truly exceptional. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. I want to talk about a young man who embodies the California dream. A young man who has shown us what perseverance and dedication truly look like. The students who had been mocking Jeremiah now shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The governor continued, This young man has faced challenges with grace and has achieved the highest honor in this graduating class through sheer intellect and hard work. He then did something no one expected. He didn't just praise the valedictorian. He spoke his name with power and clarity. That young man is Jeremiah. The name, which had been whispered in mockery just moments before, now boomed through the speakers with authority and honor. Jeremiah, the governor repeated, your journey is an inspiration not just to your peers, but to me and to our entire state. We see you, we celebrate you, and we are incredibly proud of you. A wave of applause started hesitantly at first, then growing into a thunderous, sustained ovation. It was a complete reversal. The tide of disrespect had been turned back by a single, powerful act of recognition. The students who had been jeering were now silent, their faces a mixture of shock and shame. The governor wasn't finished. He spoke about the importance of empathy, of celebrating each other's successes instead of tearing them down. He talked about how true strength lies not in being the loudest person in the room, but in the quiet resilience that Jeremiah had demonstrated. His speech wasn't just a reprimand. It was a lesson in character. He was teaching every single person in that room what it means to be a leader and a decent human being. He was using his platform to lift someone up who was being unfairly pushed down. As the governor stepped back, he gestured for Jeremiah to take the podium. The atmosphere in the room was completely transformed. When Jeremiah stepped forward this time, there were no whispers, no snickers. There was only rapt attention and a newfound respect. He looked out at his classmates, his family, and at the governor who had just become his unexpected champion. He unfolded his speech, his hands no longer trembling. The disrespect he had faced could have broken him, but instead, it had forged an unbreakable moment of triumph. Jeremiah began to speak, and his voice was clear and steady. He didn't mention the mockery. He didn't need to. He spoke of his dreams, of his gratitude for his family and teachers, and of his hope for the future. He spoke of the power of education to change lives and open doors. Every word was filled with a wisdom and maturity that belied his years. His speech was no longer just a valedictorian's address. It was a testament to his character, He had risen above the pettiness and delivered a message of unity and aspiration. The audience was captivated, hanging on his every word. The students who had once mocked him were now listening, truly listening, perhaps for the first time. They heard the voice of a leader, a scholar, and a young man of incredible integrity. In that moment, Jeremiah wasn't just the quiet kid they had dismissed. He was a force. The governor's intervention had given him the stage, but Jeremiah's own words and character were what commanded it. He proved that his worth wasn't determined by the opinions of others, but by his own actions and achievements. It was a powerful lesson for everyone present. When Jeremiah finished his speech, the entire auditorium rose to its feet in a roaring standing ovation that lasted for several minutes. The applause was genuine, filled with admiration and regret. His family was in tears, overwhelmed with pride. The governor stood beside him, clapping the loudest. Jeremiah, the quiet valedictorian, had not only delivered the speech of a lifetime, but had also become the center of an unforgettable lesson in humility and respect. His story became a headline, a viral moment that reminded the world that true honor is earned, not given, and that sometimes the quietest voices have the most powerful things to say. Thank you for watching, and if you were inspired by this story, make sure to follow for more.